The claim that humans have exactly 5 senses is a dramatic undercount. Beyond sight and touch, we have dedicated systems for hearing, smell, taste, balance, body position, temperature, pain, and more. Each represents a distinct sensory system with specialized receptors and neural pathways. All sensory systems share a common task: transduction, converting physical energy from the world into electrochemical neural signals the brain can process. Sound waves become nerve impulses. Chemical molecules become flavor and scent. Mechanical pressure becomes the sense of touch. Each sensory modality has a dedicated cortical area for higher processing. The auditory cortex handles sound, the olfactory cortex handles smell, and the somatosensory cortex handles touch. These areas are organized systematically, with different regions devoted to different body parts or stimulus qualities. Hearing begins when sound waves, variations in air pressure produced by vibrating objects, are collected by the outer ear and funneled through the ear canal to the eardrum. The frequency of these waves determines pitch. The amplitude determines loudness. The cochlea is a fluid-filled, snail-shaped structure in the inner ear where the critical transduction occurs. Sound waves cause fluid waves inside the cochlea, which bend hair cells along the basilar membrane. This bending triggers neural signals that travel via the auditory nerve to the brain. Place theory explains how we distinguish pitch. Different locations along the basilar membrane respond maximally to different sound frequencies. High-frequency sounds activate cells near the base. Low-frequency sounds activate cells near the apex. Brain interprets which cells are activated as a specific pitch. For low-frequency sounds, frequency theory provides an additional explanation. Neurons fire in synchrony with the sound wave itself. The rate of neural firing matches the frequency of the sound, giving the brain additional pitch information. Volley principle extends this idea to moderately high frequencies. We locate sounds using interaural differences, tiny differences in the timing and intensity of a sound reaching each ear. A sound to the left arrives slightly earlier and slightly louder in the left ear. These microsecond differences are enough to precisely locate sound sources in three-dimensional space. The olfactory system detects airborne chemical molecules that bind to specialized receptors in the nasal epithelium. Humans have roughly 400 types of olfactory receptors, allowing us to distinguish thousands of distinct odors through combinatorial coding. Different receptor combinations signal different smells. Unlike other senses that route through the thalamus, olfactory signals project directly to the amygdala and hippocampus, structures central to emotion and memory. This explains why smells trigger vivid emotional memories more reliably than any other sense. The Proustian-Madeline effect has a clear neural basis. The sense of taste, gustation, detects 5 primary qualities: sweet, salty, sour, bitter, and umami. Taste buds on the tongue and palate detect dissolved chemicals and send signals to the brain. What we experience as complex flavor is mostly smell. Close your nose while eating, and taste alone is surprisingly simple. What we call flavor is a constructed experience combining taste, smell, and texture. When a cold or stuffy nose blocks olfaction, food loses most of its flavor complexity. The sweetness and saltiness remain, but the richness disappears. This integration of multiple senses is central to all perception. The skin contains distinct receptor types for pressure, vibration, temperature, and pain. These somatosensory signals travel the spinal cord to the thalamus and then to the somatosensory cortex, where they are mapped onto a topographic representation of the entire body surface. Gate control theory proposes that neural gates in the spinal cord can open or close pain signals before they reach the brain. Competing non-pain signals, rubbing and injury, can close the gate and reduce perceived pain. Psychological factors like attention, expectation, and emotion also modulate the gate. Proprioception is the sense of body position and movement. Receptors in muscles, tendons, and joints constantly signal joint angles, muscle tension, and limb movement to the brain. Without proprioception, coordinated movement becomes impossible, something dramatically illustrated in cases where the system is disrupted. The vestibular sense detects the position and movement of the head in space. Fluid-filled semicircular canals in the inner ear detect rotational acceleration. The otolith organs detect gravity and linear acceleration. Damage to the vestibular system produces disorienting vertigo and balance problems.